Every rhythm lesson for beginners starts in the wrong place. After 26 years of teaching, I figured out where to actually start, and it's not where you think. Eighth notes. That's where we start. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what they are, what they look like, what they sound like, and you're going to realize you already know whole notes, half notes, and quarter notes without me even teaching them. Hey everyone, I'm AJ Hansen with Level Up Your Guitar. PDFs of what we cover is in the description. Private lesson link is down there too. Let's get into it. Here's how rhythm is traditionally taught to beginners. Whole notes, 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4. You gotta sit there and wait. Half notes, 2 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, sit there, wait. Quarter note, 1 beat, 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit more action, but still a lot of waiting. And then eventually, after all that waiting, you get to eighth notes, where things actually start to feel like music. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But here's the problem. Beginners are not so good at waiting. Not because they're impatient, but because their body doesn't know what to do yet. When you're still figuring out how to hold a chord, sitting still for 4 beats feels like an eternity. You tense up, freeze, you lose the groove before it ever starts. So instead of forcing a square peg in a round hole, I get out of my student's way and I flip it. I start with eighth notes, and here's why that works. So what is an eighth note? It's simple. It's 1 beat divided in 2. Down, up, or when you count it, 1 and. That's the whole definition. 8 of them fill 1 measure, which is exactly why they're called eighth notes. And what that means for your strumming hand is constant motion. Depending on the song, that means down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Or all down strums if it's more of an aggressive or driving song. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Feel that? The hand never stops. There's no waiting, no freezing, no awkward pause.
Why? Must he die? Why?
Where you don't know what to do. The motion is constant, and that constant motion is exactly what beginners need to start feeling like a guitarist. Now here's the part I love. Check this out. We're working in 4 beats per measure today. That's called 4/4 time, and it's the time signature you'll use for probably 90% of the songs you want to learn, so don't worry about anything else for now. So look at this. I've got all 4 note values, whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, lined up to the eighth notes. Now this is important. A full measure of eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a whole note take the exact same amount of time. The beat doesn't change, the tempo doesn't change, all we're doing is subdividing, which means breaking the same block of time into smaller pieces. So let me demonstrate eighth notes and whole notes next to each other. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So by learning to count the eighth notes, you're still counting the larger note values of whole, half, and quarter. Most experienced guitarists are usually counting eighth notes in their head, even when playing something as long as a whole note to keep the time locked in. I've included a blank sheet music page in the description. Download it, print it, and doodle some eighth notes on it. Just a few or fill up the page. The little flags on the single notes, the beams connecting pairs, and groups of 4. You don't have to be a perfect artist, but just fill in a note, give it a stem, and a flag. Don't worry about the direction, just get used to doing it. And then when you want to start beaming them together, make it look like that. And sometimes you'll do 4 notes in a row on beats 1 and 2 and, or 3 and 4 and you can beam 4 together. That's all you have to do. Just make sure you do an entire measure of it. So if we go back to here, this is what it looks like when they're all separately flagged. This is when they're beamed 2 per beat, and this is when you beam 4 at a time. Most of the time you'll do these 2, but make sure you practice these 2. They are important, you will use them much later on, but this is what you should focus on, these 2 groupings here. Don't think of it as music homework. Think of it as doodling or drawing, because that's all it is. Then once you've drawn a few, pick any chord you know, or just mute the strings with your fretting hand, and strum eighth notes while you count out loud 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and for about 30 seconds. You don't need to go crazy on this. Just do it every day. That's the whole assignment. Draw it and play it. You'll feel it click. This is the same rule as the neck worksheet from the video on part 1. Your brain needs your hand involved. Here's the last thing, and you don't even need a guitar for this one. I've done this in 1 or 2 other videos, so if you've seen it before, you probably need to see it one more time. All you're gonna do is tap your hands on your knees. So right hand taps the downbeat, so that's all the numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Left hand taps the offbeat, the ands, and. Together it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Obviously you don't want to be that animated about it, kind of looks like a robot. Be cool about it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and do it silently. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and just think it. That's eighth notes on your knees. You can do this anywhere, waiting for coffee, sitting at a red light, 10 seconds while you're watching TV. Do it as many times a day as you can. And here's the thing that starts to happen. You'll begin to notice eighth notes everywhere. In songs you're listening to, in the rhythm of someone talking, in the sound of your own footsteps. Once your body knows the feel of it, your ears start to find it without you trying. That's when the rhythm stops being something you practice and it starts being something you just have. So that's the backward approach to rhythm. Start with eighth notes, keep the hand moving, let the whole notes, half notes, and quarter notes reveal themselves naturally. If you missed part 1 of this series, the musical alphabet and the chord names, that one's going to be linked right here. And when you want to put those eighth note strums to work on a real song immediately, Rockin' in the Free World is very simple and has a lot of eighth notes for you to play. Perfect first song, check that out up here. The series keeps going, part 3 is on the way, hit subscribe so you don't miss it. If this helped you level up, hit the like button, download the PDF in the description, private lesson link is down there too. Keep playing, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Where's my stuff?